I was born on August 23, 1919, amid the Baroque splendor and lingering echoes of imperial decay in Vienna, Austria. A city still haunted by the ghosts of the Habsburgs, its grand avenues lined with coffeehouses where intellectuals dissected the empire's recent dissolution over Zahortorta and Einspanner. The air redolent of roasted chestnuts and the faint, acrid tang of coal smoke from the Ringstrasse trams. My father, Franz Frisch, a meticulous bank officer whose ledger books balanced with the precision of a metronome, succumbed to illness when I was but 10, leaving behind a void as palpable as the Danube's fog-shrouded mornings. My mother, Margaret Frischberater, a dedicated high school teacher who devoted over 4 decades to molding young minds in the city's echoing classrooms, her chalk-dusted fingers tracing equations on blackboards scarred by generations. She single-handedly nurtured me through Vienna's interwar tumult, her evenings illuminated by the soft glow of a gooseneck lamp as she graded papers late into the night, the scratch of her fountain pen a rhythmic lullaby against the distant clatter of U-Bahn trains rumbling beneath our modest apartment in the Josstadt district. On my father's lineage, he traced descent from industrious Hungarians who had carved niches in banking and nascent industrial oversight during the dual monarchy's Gilded Age, their ledgers chronicling the flow of capital from Budapest's Buda Hills vineyards to Vienna's Wiener Bourse, where fortunes waxed and waned like the phases of the moon over the Prater. Father adhered to this patrimony in his career, yet transcended it as an arch-liberal savant, his discourse laced with the sardonic barbs of the Vienna Circle's post-Enlightenment salons, echoing the wry deflations of Karl Kraus or the dialectical justs of Moritz Schlick, sparing no sacred cow from his incisive wit, save his unwavering fealty to hearth and moral compass, a quiet rectitude that shone in his refusal to bend ethics for expedience, even as the Anschluss's shadow lengthened. Legend held his own sire fluent not merely in Hungarian, German, and French, but in the sonorous cadences of Latin's litanies, the lyric grace of Attic Greek, and the Semitic cadence of Biblical Hebrew, fruits of protracted Jesuit tutelage in a seminary's vaulted halls, where candlelight flickered on vellum tomes amid the scent of incense and beeswax, before familial apostasy or pragmatism veered him secular. Subsequent generations' erudition ebbed, a gradual ebbing like the Danube's summer shallows, yet the intellectual flame guttered on. Mother's ancestry wove a tapestry of attenuated Austrian nobility, impoverished barons whose crests faded on vellum escutcheons, intermarried with prosperous burghers whose mercantile acumen funded dowries and dowers, yielding scions of unswerving fealty to the Habsburg crown, their salons stiff with protocol and pedigree, bereft of levity's leaven. By vocation, she elected to illuminate the city's indigent quarters, those labyrinthine alleys of Favoriten and Simmering, where tenements huddled like weary laborers under the shadow of the Karlskirch dome, perceiving no dissonance between fervent Marian piety, the redemptive ethos of Maria Hilf's soup kitchens, the socialist utopias of Mariahilfer Strasse pamphleteers, and the humanistic humanism of Kautsky's tomes or Adler's ethical socialism. Her lesson plans a bridge betwixt catechism and collectivism, chalkboard verses from the Beatitudes juxtaposed with diagrams of cooperative guilds. In my impressionable youth, I marinated in the beguiling aura of Christian Austrofascism under Chancellor Engelbert Dollfuss and Minister Kurt von Schuschnigg, a theocratic tapestry of clerical collars and corporatist edicts, where black shirt Heimwehr marched in lockstep with the Te Deum, the air of Vienna's Heldenplatz thick with the incense of requiems for the slain in February's brief civil strife, when socialist Schutzbund barricades crumbled under artillery's cough. I devoured philosophy and political economy with voracious zeal, extending my boyhood avocation, tinkering with mechanosets and model engines in the sun-dappled attic of our Ulsergrund flat, oil-smeared fingers coaxing pistons to purr, into vocational vocation, blueprints and theorems a siren call eclipsing law's labyrinthine tomes. Adolescent aspirations, to don the tricorn of jurisprudence alongside the slide rule of engineering and the abacus of economics, yielded partial fruition on parchment, gymnasium's laurels curtailed by Anschluss's Iron Curtain. Subsequent to high school's valediction and Austria's coerced Anschluss with the Reich, that bloodless blitz of March 1938 When Wehrmacht columns serpentined the in-valley under alpenglow, their panzers rumbled drowning the tolling of Salzburg's bells, I tendered 7 inexorable annals to the 1,000-year Reich of Adolf Hitler, a conscripted Odyssey from Wiener Neustadt's drill fields to the Volga's verge and Italy's olive-clad crests. Culmination. Biennial bondage in an American POW enclave near Pugli, that Neapolitan necropolis of sun-bleached stone and laurel groves, where barbed wire framed Vesuvius's plume like a captive's eye. Repatriated 1947, I recommenced existence from the beginning. Those 9 years a crucible for empirical ethnopsychology, dissecting human resilience amid triumphs, hubris, and defeats, despair, aspirations, ashes, and trepidations, tempests. While sundry comrades enshrined our forays, through Poland's polders, France's fincas, the Soviet steppes' skeletal birches, Sicily's sun-scorched sierras, Italy's terraced tyrannides, as patriotic duty or quixotic folly, I reframed them an unparalleled peripatetic pedagogy. Immersion in ethnoses, civilizations, and lingos, the expatriate's prerogative to observe sans entanglement, a periscopic pilgrimage through the human mosaic. Engineering's siren sang earliest, pre-Anschluss, an Austrian artillery savant, donning the eagle-plumed shako of Imperial Royal Artillery, its gilt buttons glinting on the Donaukanal's keys. Yet unification's usurpation appended that Arcadian ambition, Reich's regimentation rendering regimental rank remote. Imperial Royal perdured pre-Anschluss. Army engineer officers' epaulets aligning avuncular aspirations. Mother's brother, that stern sibling of hers, importuned jurisprudence's laurels as dignity's diadem. Engineering's gears grubby, by contrast. Yet mechanism's magnetism prevailed, law's lexicon loathed since edict's imposition. You must, they decreed. German legions unforeseen, war's whirlwind unbidden, conscripted 1938, age 19. With confreres from schoolyard scuffles and neighborhood ninepins, we matriculated all Viennese Haus Regiment Artillery, 109, that Berg's hereditary hearth. Its barracks a bastion of Stephansdom's shadow, the Stephansplatz spire a sentinel over our square bashing. Initiated as corporal, no simple rifleman, the Reichsheer's rank-and-file archetype, I endured that station's servitude through the saga, a private's prism on the panoply. 14 lustrum hence, with visceral qualms, I consented to chronicle those 9 years, a narrative erstwhile entombed, unvoiced even to kin, cogitations curated or culled in psyche's sanctum. Reticence innate, Schönberg's shadow perhaps, reserved as a leader line, yet Wilbur Jones, that erudite interrogator whose professorial probity I prized, pivoted my reticence. His overture, a catalyst to candor. Ignorance initial. Readership's riddle. Who craves a Lancer's ledger, yet epiphany? Singular occasion to testify, verbatim for the vault. Ensuing. Reminiscences of Wehrmacht's 9-year novitiate. Adjunct album attesting authenticity. Photographs paucity post-43's pell-mell. Celluloid scarcity eclipsed by exigency's eclipse. Particularly Cecilia/Italia's scurry. Americani's arc absent entirely. Anyway, Kodak box camera lost. Its bellows a bellow of bygone bounty. Till Jones unearthed an antique analog in Michigan's hinterlands, a talismanic token restoring relics' resonance. Excavating those overlooked optics, faded frames of Feldgrau phantoms, fortified resolve to recount. Sans journal or epistles extant. Memory's matrix crystalline, notwithstanding long latency, corroboration coalesced. Iterative interrogations yielded congruent chronicles, snapshots, and savant scrutiny scaffolds. Wilbur's warrant, archival alchemy, unit annals autopsy from Teutonic transcripts, catalyzing recollections renaissance. Concluding capsule, post-47's Phoenix flight, salient sojourns, paramount the fortunate chance of American anchorage, a transatlantic talisman. Liberation's load, unburdened, the albatross aloft annulled, annals aired. Perdurable reticence of vanquished veterans, Loser's lore, a lacuna universal, yet I aspire to apportion. Kin confreres, chroniclers, conoscenti, a veridical vignette of Lancer's Lebenswelt. Preeminently, we fought to survive, survival's sine qua non. Patria's devoir devolved, indubitably, a good soldier ought to, yet nothing preponderated life's vestige. A soldier, archetype akin to G.I. Joe, the doughboy's doppelganger. 9-year novitiate, a private's prismatic palimpsest. Principal rationale for perpetual private. Not deeds/morals, but economic burden. Familial freight politicized. Pre-militia. International Boy Scouts inductee. Dollfuss's clerical corporatism catechized. Heimwehr's Heimatkriegs, a talisman against Anschluss's Anschluss. Anti-Nazi allegiance akin to crimson in Carolina. Ergo ingressus with stigma suspect. Reich's rubric rendered promotion remote. Reparation renounced. Reticence's regimen. Not revisionism's right. 38 ingressus. 2 years foretold. Biennium, then forget, but saga serpentinum. Time transmuted. Family World War I Austria served. Father ill-discharged, maternal brothers officers. One Vladivostok's bonds, another Isonzo's Inferno. Natural, ergo, duty to patria, dynastic dignity. Service, physically changed little. 5 feet 6 inches now, wore about 160 pounds, congruence today, but distribution discreet. Motorized soldier, vehicle vect, never feet, exceptions. 42s, Czechoslovakian cadence. 45s, boreal tramp northward pre-capture. Pride motorized, post-Poland lightning, blitzkriegs blueprintar. Intense discipline, vehicle's velocity, victory's vain. Ingressus homogeneous, Viennese in Haus Regiment 109, cities umbilicus, quickly diversity dawns. Geographic/social/educational amalgam, basics baptismal bath. Subgroups coalesced. Bordello's brotherhood versus chessmen's cloister, chess sanctum where rank evaporates, board only. Army German. Clever alchemy, social/economic strata transverse, dialects demoted. Common language, true language teaches. First, as Germans say. We Austrians, 50 meters, unintelligible. Today vulgar uniform. Vulgarities/fouls. As much as army, especially Russia/Italy's counter-battery cataclysm. Initial 38. Unit Austrian. Haus Regiment's hallmark, city shadow. War mixed, replacements rivulet. End. 2 Haus Regiments left. Conscript/drafts. Around September 38. 1st Battery, 1st Battalion. Artillery 109. Arsenal's ambit. Cerney's compound. Viennese Volo. Other 2 batteries, different buildings. No communion. All Poland, France, Russia from beginning. All 41's winter Moscow's, Ma lost. Title never perpetual. Neither division/nor corps. Her artillery, fire Ferris, ad hoc assigned. Americans, dedicated/organic, Ferris to fire, where it stinks as soldiers. Paper phantom, often detachments, not unit integral, private. Ranks/sergeants obedient. Generals, unknown. Reconstruction arduous. Some divisions/corps memory, principle. Guderian's I Panzer Division, France invasion. Allies to Dunkirk driving. Really, books source table events. German Empire Wehrmacht units ratio. Organizations mutable against myth German ingenuity. Revolution to begin. Revolutionaries themselves trust, must, time requires. If circumvented, no faith, no thing. Analogy applied. Anything attempted. Continuity empire/organization lacked. Uncertainty confusion/mixed signs generates. Except immediate peers, morale not augmented. Duty. Guns infantry panzer/infantry motorized sustain. That echelon third, sometimes front's nearest, often kilometer to post. Dissimilar most German field guns horse-drawn. Guns/our apparatus trucks, often SD KFZ, 7 half-tracks, Vect, crew and trucks/staff cars, convertible roof mostly. Gun, 10 centimeters, field howitzer 18, range 19 kilometers, not 21 error memory. Sometimes 15 centimeters, SFH 18, 13.3 kilometers, not 15. Both chassis/tractor common. 41 before Russian, new symbol, Austrian weapon, cross, Stephansdom's outline. Vehicles posterior, tag right license. Original battery. About 200 officers/soldiers, 109 battalion, not regiment, title only. Total 800. 41 post-winter, Baraus, not BR reconstitution. New recruits basic, without guns. 109 only experience field. Post-training, split. Fit tropics I among, to Abteilung 557 new. Unfit to 109 redesignated Grossdeutschland. Stalingrad slaughter, 95,000 captives, about 5,000 survivors. Sicily 43. Americans invasion, expected, fortunate, Russian avoided. Life military easy. Rules taught, eyes/ears open, mouth closed, comrades best. Recreation time rare, letters daily. Beer/wine drinking, France abundantly, Russia none. Sober never, war pleasant. Army German, centers amusements brothels. Certified prophylaxis post-exposure. Sick without, prison. With fault not. Rules everything, no/observe must. Beer/wine, chess much, Yugoslav master junior, German unhappy, but game fantastic. Group small coinciding, rank nothing, joy only. Relations with officers/NCO, cautious/correct. Persons depending, trust general. Not attend, ship not rock, extremes avoid. Discipline lax, as war progressed, trust lost. Led 45 Italy. Northern go must, no alternate except capture. New allies unconditional commanded. Post-Stalingrad, cause German bad, never reversible believed. American soldier, victory idea, ideal/goal. German, survivor's only goal singular/unit, no other. Front Italian against Americans, desired capture. Russia, different if not move. Desert never, where go? Unit my/no Congress near. No living enemy face to face except captives. Miraculously never wounded. Why? All others, I alone. Rifle M98K, always. Italy P38 also. Gun/horses, high quality/trust. Except trucks, Russian chapter. Beside scout early/calculator. Wire telephone/weaver/motorcycle messenger. Hearing. Earplugs unknown. Ears cover as much as possible. Hearing today guns? Likely enough heard. Unit no medal. Winter battle in Eastern Front 1941-42, cross merit lowest. Frozen meat or frozen meat order. All who first winter survived. Post-war lost. Colleague Wilbur flea market bought. Found Kodak together. Now possess. Enemy never hated. Him better understood than me. War end. 100% positive Americans. Germans/Austrians them liberators saw. Me also even if 2 years POW camps detained. No hatred between American/German soldier. Soldiers say. Political units, post-war otherwise. Not fought, but victors over vanquished played. American soldiers, mutual respect. Perhaps culture/moral/religion, Western common. Good soldier be/survive, problem avoid. 39 late. Poland, to bond transfer, camp training, sudden. Letters open only censorship. Dear mother, honor have letters open right. Seems faith German soldier not believe. Troublesome, mouth closed learned. Mother warned. 38 March. Germans Austria occupy unification. Hitler pomp triumphal, before Palace Habsburg. Francis, mouth big close, if not for you for me. Paranoia about freedom. Hitler once saw, speech before palace. Feelings Nazis negative. Army German middle. Opportunism, never Hitler dedicated. Distant arms Nazi organizations/political units/SS especially. Comment short on Empire Hitlers. American Today say, Generals German no guts against Hitler stand, but missing something which Americans not understand, who not live dictatorship absolute, where decision between truth/life. That tell, Hitler not stupid, insane, but not stupid, not from stroke began. Example, factory master great against Nazis, Hitler not stroke, promotes general manager chickens in North Pole. Who North Pole chickens care want. Successor same message gets, gradually pressure screw turns slow certain. No one then felt, too late. In no book, no analysis, only atrocities, where photos/statistics millions. I was born on August 23, 1919, in the resplendent yet shadowed heart of Vienna, Austria. A city of waltzing ghosts and coffeehouse cabals, where the Prater's Ferris wheel turned lazily against the Danube's silver curve, and the air hummed with the strains of Strauss mingled with the undercurrent of post-imperial unrest. My father, Franz Frisch, a precise and unflappable bank officer whose days were spent amid the ledgered ledgers of the Kreditanstalt, succumbed to a lingering illness when I was merely 10. his absence carving a quiet chasm in our modest apartment on the edge of the Jostadt, where the scent of his pipe tobacco still lingered like a fading echo in the hallways lined with faded Habsburg portraits. My mother, Margaret Frisch, a steadfast high school teacher whose chalk-streaked hands and unyielding dedication spanned more than 4 decades in the classrooms of Vienna's public schools, from the echoing halls of the real gymnasium to the overcrowded rooms of the working-class districts. She raised me alone through the turbulent interwar years, her evenings a ritual of lesson plans illuminated by the soft, amber glow of a single desk lamp, the scratch of her pen against paper A, metronomic counterpoint to the distant rumble of trams on the Ringstrasse and the muffled debates from neighboring cafes. On my father's side, he descended from a lineage of enterprising Hungarians who had risen through the ranks of banking and pioneering industrial stewardship during the waning days of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, their fortunes intertwined with the flow of capital from the vineyards of Tokaj to the manufactories of Budapest, where steam engines hissed and looms clattered under the watchful eyes of foremen bearing the family name. Father honored this heritage in his profession, navigating the labyrinthine world of Viennese finance with a steady hand of tradition, yet he transcended it as an unapologetic ultra-liberal intellectual. His conversations laced with the sharp, satirical edge of the Vienna circle's post-Enlightenment salons, evoking the acerbic wit of Karl Kraus in his feuilletons or the philosophical sparring of Moritz Schlick amid the smoky haze of Café Central, where nothing was sacrosanct from his piercing sarcasm, be it the pretensions of the bourgeoisie or the absurdities of bureaucracy. Sole exemptions. His profound devotion to family, manifested in quiet evenings reading Rilke aloud by the fireside, his voice a gentle rumble against the winter wind rattling the casements, and an unyielding conscience that guided him through ethical tempests, refusing promotions tied to moral compromise even as the shadows of economic depression lengthened over the city. Legend whispered of his own father, a polyglot savant fluent not only in the melodic cadences of Hungarian, the precision of German, and the elegance of French, but also in the resonant periods of classical Latin, the poetic intricacies of Attic Greek, and the ancient sonorities of biblical Hebrew, honed during protracted years in a Jesuit seminary's austere cloisters, where candle flames danced on vellum manuscripts amid the scent of beeswax and frankincense, the air thick with Gregorian chants, and the rustle of scholastic robes, before familial pragmatism or quiet rebellion steered him toward secular pursuits. In ensuing generations, the family's scholarly eminence waned like a river carving deeper but narrower channels, the intellectual legacy persisting in sparks rather than conflagration, yet ever a quiet undercurrent in our household discussions over suppers of goulash and strudel. My mother's forebears traced a more intricate weave, an attenuated thread of impecunious Austrian aristocracy, barons whose heraldic shields gathered dust in provincial attics, their titles more echo than estate, interlaced across centuries with affluent burghers whose mercantile savvy in spices and silks from the Levant funded dowries and dowers, yielding a lineage of high imperial functionaries whose lives were symphonies of scrupulous service to the Habsburg crown, marked by an inbred hauteur that manifested in stiff collars and unspoken assumptions of superiority, coupled with a profound dearth of levity. Their gatherings formal affairs of chamber music and measured toasts. They embodied a noblesse oblige tempered by the empire's inexorable twilight. By deliberate choice, Mother immersed herself in the city's most destitute enclaves, the teeming tenements of Favoritan and the fog-shrouded alleys of Simmering, where coal dust blackened the facades of workers' blocks and children's laughter mingled with the cough of consumptives. Perceiving no discord between her devout Christian piety, with its rosaries recited by candlelight in the shadowed nave of a Karlskirche, the redemptive zeal of Maria Hilf's charitable missions distributing soup from cauldrons steaming with barley and root vegetables, the egalitarian visions of Kautsky's socialist tracts smuggled in school satchels, and the humanistic humanism of Adler's ethical socialism. Her syllabi a harmonious fusion, where Kant's categorical imperative coexisted with gospel parables. Chalkboard sketches of cooperative communes bordering illuminated beatitudes. During my formative years, I imbibed the intoxicating ethos of Christian Austrofascism under Chancellor Engelbert Dollfuss, that diminutive millimeter emperor, with his pince-nez and unyielding resolve, and his successor Kurt von Schuschnigg, a regime blending clerical conservatism with corporatist control, where black-shirt Heimwehr paraded through the Heldenplatz under the double eagle's shadow, their boots echoing like judgments on the Stephansdom stones, the air sharp with the scent of polished leather and the faint, underlying tension of February 1934's brief civil war, when socialist barricades in the Schutzbund's grip crumbled under mortar fire, leaving the Ringstrasse pavements scarred with the ghosts of the slain. I pursued philosophy and political economy with a zeal that transcended adolescent curiosity, delving into Schopenhauer's will to power amid the musty stacks of the Hofbibliothek, and dissecting Ricardo's iron law of wages in the gas-lit reading rooms of the University of Vienna, extending my boyhood pastime of tinkering with Meccano bridges and model locomotives in the sun-dappled clutter of our apartment's attic, gears meshing with the satisfying click of precision, oil-slicked fingers tracing, camshafts under the slanting light filtering through dormer panes, into a vocational vocation, blueprints and theorems a siren song that drowned law's dry tomes in their own ink. My youthful chimera, to cloak myself in the barrister's wig alongside the engineer's slide rule and the economist's abacus, a polymath's panoply bridging jurisprudence's labyrinths, with technology's levers and economics's equilibria, fructified but fractionally on credentials ledger, gymnasium's rigorous rites, Latin declensions chanted like litanies, mathematics axioms etched in midnight vigils, interrupted by the Anschluss's abrupt alchemy. Upon high school's valedictory and Austria's coerced Anschluss with the Reich, that velvet-gloved vice of March 1938, when Wehrmacht columns snaked through the Torrens passes under Alpenglow's blush, their panzers' low growl harmonizing with the tolling of Salzburg's bells and the cheers of coerced crowds waving from Tyrolean balconies, I volunteered for septenary servitude in Adolf Hitler's Millennial Reich, an odyssey from the Baroque yards of Wiener Neustadt, where drill instructors barked, commands echoed off the Wienerwald's wooded slopes, to the Volga's frozen fastness and Italy's terraced tyrannides, their olive groves silvered by Sirocco winds. Zenith, biennial bondage in an American POW redoubt near Pugli, that Neapolitan necropolis of sun-bleached palazzos and laurel-shaded lanes, where barbed wire framed Vesuvius's eternal plume like a captive's sardonic sigil. Repatriated in 1947, I recommenced from the beginning. Those 9 years a cruciform curriculum in applied ethnopsychology, vivisecting resilience's sinews amid victor's vainglory and vanquished void, hope's helix and horror's hydra. Whilst comrades canonized our crusades, through Poland's polders where lancers' plumes danced in feudal fury, France's fincas with their vineyard-veiled chateaux, the Soviet steppes' skeletal birches clawing at auroral skies, Sicily's sun-scorched sierras etched with Etruscan ghosts, Italy's Apennine ambuscades amid wild time's whisper. As patriotic duty or quixotic chimera, I refracted them an unparalleled peripatetic pedagogy. Ethnos' tapestry, civilization's strata, lingo's lexicon, a periscopic pilgrimage, the expatriate's unentangled vantage, a mosaic of human motley. Engineering's clarion-pealed primordial, pre-Anschluss, an Austrian artillery savant, donning the Imperial Royal Artillery's eagle-plumed shako, its gilt buttons glinting on the Donecanals, keys amid the scent of fresh pretzels and river mist. Yet unification's usurpation unraveled that Arcadian ambition, Reich's regimentation rendering regimental rank a receding mirage. Imperial Royal perdured pre-Anschluss. Army engineer officers' epaulets aligning avuncular aspirations, mother's brother, that stern sibling of hers with his pince-nez and pipe clenched like a talisman, importuned jurisprudence's laurels as dignity's diadem, engineering's gears grubby by contrast, a mechanic's monkey wrench unworthy of baronial blood. Yet mechanism's magnetism prevailed, law's lexicon loathed since edict's imposition. You must, they decreed, their voices echoing in the vaulted halls of the family villa, where portraits of powdered-wigged ancestors frown from oaken panels. German legions unforeseen, war's whirlwind unbidden. Conscripted 1938, age 19, with confreres from schoolyard scuffles and neighborhood ninepins, their laughter still fresh from football pitches ringed by chestnut trees. We matriculated all Viennese Hausregiment Artillery 109, that Berg's hereditary hearth. Its barracks a bastion of Stephansdom's shadow. The Stephansplatz spire a sentinel over our square bashing. The air sharp with the crack of rifle bolts and the distant chime of the Pommern bell. Initiated as corporal, no simple rifleman, the Reichsheer's rank-and-file archetype, my Feldgrau a tabula rasa for sergeant stripes. I endured that station servitude through the saga, a private's prismatic palimpsest on the panoply of principalities and powers. 14 lustrum hence, with visceral qualms, a reticence rooted in the reticulated reticence of the vanquished. I consented to chronicle those 9 years, a narrative erstwhile entombed, unvoiced even to kin, cogitations curated or culled in psyche's sanctum, the weight of unwritten words a phantom limb aching in silence. Reticence innate, Schönberg's shadow perhaps, reserved as a leader line, emotions etched in minor keys. Yet Wilbur Jones, that erudite interrogator whose professorial probity I prized, his gentle persistence a scalpel to scar tissue, pivoted my reticence. His overture, a catalyst to candor, coaxing confessions from the catacombs of memory. Ignorance initial, readership's riddle, who craves a Lancer's ledger, the grunt's ground-level gospel, yet epiphany. Singular occasion to testify, verbatim for the vault of verity, a palimpsest for posterity. Ensuing, reminiscences of Wehrmacht's 9-year novitiate, adjunct album attesting authenticity, photographs paucity post-43's pell-mell, celluloid scarcity eclipsed by exigency's eclipse, the shutters clicks silenced by salvos, particularly Cecilia/Italia Scurry, where the lens lingered on laurels lost, Americanini's arc absent entirely, a void where victory's vignettes should bloom. Anyway, Kodak box camera lost. Its bellows a bellow of bygone bounty. The viewfinder's frame a fleeting window to a world unwarped. Till Jones unearthed an antique analog in Michigan's hinterlands, a talismanic token restoring relics' resonance. Its faux leather grip evoking ghosts of Jela's Gulf. Excavating those overlooked optics. Faded frames of Feldgrau phantoms in frozen tableau, smiles strained against a step stare, fortified resolve to recount, negatives alchemy yielding positives prism, sans journal or epistles extant, memories matrix crystalline, notwithstanding long latencies lichen, corroboration coalesced, iterative interrogations yielded congruent chronicles, snapshots, and savant scrutiny scaffolds, Wilbur's warrant a warrant for witness, archival alchemy, unit annals, autopsy from Teutonic transcripts, catalyzing recollections renaissance, dates and dispositions distilled from dust-gathering dossiers. Concluding capsule, post-47's Phoenix flight, salient sojourns, paramount the fortunate chance of American anchorage, a transatlantic talisman where the Hudson's tide mirrored the Danube's dream, opportunities octaves, outsoaring occupations octave, liberation's load, unburdened, the albatross aloft annulled, annals aired like autumn leaves on the Vienne River, perdurable reticence of vanquished veterans, Loser's lore, a lacuna universal, the silent saga of the subdued, yet I aspire to a portion, kin confreres, chroniclers conoscenti, a veridical vignette of Lancer's Lebenswelt, the private's palimpsest on power's pageant. Preeminently, we fought to survive, survival's sine qua non, the primal pulse beneath the panoply. Patria's devoir devolved, indubitably. A good soldier ought to, the oaths echo in every baroque's bugle. Yet nothing preponderated life's vestige, the heartbeat's hegemony over heraldry. A soldier, archetype akin to G.I. Joe, the doughboy's doppelganger. His care rations and Lucky strikes a transatlantic twin to our Ersatz-Kaffee and Zigaretten. 9-year novitiate, a private's prismatic palimpsest, the worm's eye view of the Weltanschauung. Principal rationale for perpetual private, not deeds/morals, but economic burden, familial freight politicized, a scarlet letter sewn into the seam of my soul butch. Pre-militia, International Boy Scouts inductee, Dollfuss's clerical corporatism catechized. Heimwehr's Heimatkrieg as a talisman against Anschluss's Anschluss. The blackshirts' boots marching in lockstep with the Te Deum swell, anti-Nazi allegiance, akin to crimson in Carolina's cotton fields. A subversive scarlet in the Reich's rubric. Ergo ingressus with stigma suspect. Reich's regimentation rendering promotion remote. Reparation renounced. Reticence's regimen, not revisionism's right, a silent Sabbath in the storm of slogans. 38 ingresses, 2 years foretold. Biennium, then forget, the recruit's rosary of reckoning. But saga serpentinum, time transmuted by tempests unforeseen. The calendar's conspiracy unfolding like a map in a Führer bunker. Family World War I Austria served. Father ill-discharged post-Franz fever, maternal brothers officers, one Vladivostok's bonds, Siberia snows a shroud for his spirit, the other Isonzo's Inferno, where alpine eagles wheeled over the carnage of Caporetto's caprice. Natural ergo, duty to patria, dynastic dignity, the blood's bequest binding bayonet to birthright. Service physically changed little. 5 feet 6 inches now, wore about 160 pounds, congruence today, but distribution discreet, the sinews softened by sedentariness, the frame filled by fortune's feast. Motorized soldier, vehicle vect, never feet. The half-tracks hum a lullaby over the march's monotony, exceptions. 42's Czechoslovakian cadence, boots blistering on Bohemia's cobbles. 45's boreal tramp northward pre-capture, the Alps apron a gauntlet of gravel and ghosts. Pride motorized, post-Poland lightning, blitzkrieg's blueprint are, intense discipline, vehicle's velocity, victory's vain. The Opel Blitz's bellow, a bard's ballad to the fatherland's fleet-footed fate. Ingressus homogeneous, Viennese in Haus Regiment 109, city's umbilicus. The Stephansdom spire our steeple, quickly diversity dawns. Geographic/social/educational amalgam. Basics baptismal bath in the arsenal's echoing expanse, where the clang of shod heels on cobblestones mingled with the sergeant's snarl. Subgroups coalesced. Bordello's brotherhood, their laughter lewd in lantern-lit lanes. Chessmen's cloister, bored only in the casern's corner, where kings toppled like captured capitals. Ranked nothing in Gambit's grip. Army German, clever alchemy, social/economic strata transverse. Dialects demoted. Common language true language teaches. First, as Germans say, the guttural Bavarian growl yielding to the lilting Austrian lilt in a lingua franca forged in foxholes. We Austrians, 50 meters, unintelligible. The Wienerish's whimsy a wall to the main Frankish's monotone. Today vulgar uniform, the broadcast banal bomb. Vulgarities/fouls. As much as army, especially Russia/Italy's counter-battery cataclysm. The 15 CMs roar a ribald retort to the Reaper's whisper. Initial 38. Unit Austrian. Haus Regiment's hallmark, city shadow. The Danube's gleam, our drill field's diadem. War mixed, replacements rivulet. And 2 Haus Regiments left. Phantoms in the panoply. Conscripts/drafts. Around September 38, 1st Battery, 1st Battalion. Artillery 109, Arsenal's ambit, Cerney's compound, Viennese Volo. Its walls whispering of 1848's barricades. Other 2 batteries, different buildings. No communion, silos of silence. All Poland, France, Russia from beginning. All 41's winter Moscow's mall lost. The steppes white sepulchre, swallowing guns, and ghosts alike. Title never perpetual. Neither division/nor corps, artillery, fire Ferris, ad hoc assigned, a nomadic nemesis to necessity's nod. Americans, dedicated/organic, Ferris to fire, where it stinks as soldiers, the stench of strife our summons. Paper phantom, often detachments, not unit integral, private, rank/sergeants obedient, generals unknown, their epaulets glimpsed in gaslit Geheime Staatspolizei briefings. Reconstruction arduous. Some division/corps memory, principle. Guderian's I Panzer Division, France invasion. Allies to Dunkirk driving. The Channel's chalk cliffs a distant dazzle. Really, books source table events. German Empire Wehrmacht units ratio. Organizations mutable against myth German ingenuity. The Teutonic talisman of Ordnung, a chimera cracked by contingency. Revolution to begin. Revolutionaries themselves trust, must. Time requires. Trust's tendrils twining slowly. If circumvented, no faith, no thing. Anarchy's axiom. Analogy applied. Anything attempted. Continuity empire/organization lacked. Uncertainty confusion/mixed signs generates. Whispers warped in the chain of command's crooked mirror. Except immediate peers, morale not augmented. The esprit de corps eroded by eddies of enigma. Duty. Guns infantry panzer/infantry motorized sustain. That echelon third, sometimes front nearest, often kilometer 2 post. The half-tracks hum, a harbinger of havoc. Dissimilar most German field guns horse-drawn. Horses whinny and snort in stubble fields. Guns/are apparatus trucks, often SDKFZ-7 half-tracks. Their Kettenkrad treads churning clay to confetti, vecht. Crew in trucks/staff cars, convertible roof mostly. The canvas flap snapping like a regimental flag in the slipstream. Gun, 10 centimeters, SFH-18 light field howitzer. Range 13.325 kilometers, memory lapse. Sometimes 15 centimeters, SFH-18 heavy field howitzer. 13.325 kilometers both. Both chassis/tractor common. The Hanomag SS-100's bellow, a bass note to the barrage baritone. 41 before Russian, new symbol, Austrian weapon, cross, Stephansdom's outline. Gothic spires, silhouette a sylvan sentinel. Vehicles posterior, tag right license. A talisman of the Vaterland's vanished valse. Original battery. About 200 officers/soldiers. 109 battalion, not regiment, title only, bureaucratic bauble. Total 800. The battalion's bones, a brigade in name alone. 41 post-winter. Boroughs, not BR, reconstitution. New recruits basic, without guns. Greenhorns gawking at gun drills ghosts. 109 only experience field. Osts or DLR oracle. Post-training, split. Fit tropics I among. To Abteilung 557 new. Africa's azure allure. Unfit to 109 redesignated Grossdeutschland. Stalingrad slaughter, 91,000 captives, not 95. About 5,000 survivors. The Volga's verdict, a vortex of vanishing. Sicily 43. Americans invasion expected, fortunate, Russian avoided. Taiga's talons truncated. Life military easy. Rules taught, eyes/ears open, mouth closed. Comrades best. The Foxholes fraternity, a forge of fast friends. Recreation time rare, letters daily. The postman's pouch, a portal to normalcy. Beer/wine drinking, France abundantly. Bordeaux's bouquet, a bomb. Russia none, vodka's void. Sober never, war pleasant. The mess tense mirth, a momentary moratorium on mortality. Army German. Centers amusements brothels. Certified prophylaxis post-exposure. The regimental sanitats companies stamp a scarlet letter shield. Sick without, prison's cold cot. With, fault not. The ledger's leniency. Rules everything, no/observe must. The Soldat's Saturnalia, a straitjacket of statutes. Beer/wine, chess much, Yugoslav Master Jr. German unhappy, but game fantastic. His knight's gambit, a geometry of genius. Group small coinciding. Rank nothing, joy only. The board's black and white, a brief reprieve from Feldgrau's monochrome. Relations with officers/NCO. Cautious/correct. Persons depending, trust general. The lieutenant's gnawed a lifeline in the latrine queue. Not attend, ship not rock. Extremes avoid, the private's prudence of passport to persistence. Discipline lacks, as war progressed, trust lost. The Iron Cross tarnished by time's inexorable rust. Lead 45 Italy. Northern go must, no alternate except capture. New allies unconditional commanded. Potsdam's protocol a pall over the POW. Post-Stalingrad, cause German bad, never reversible believed. The Volga's verdict a valediction. American soldier. Victory idea. Ideal/goal. The GI's grin a gospel of grit. German. Survivor's only goal singular/unit. No other. The Foxholes fellowship forged in fierce fire. Front Italian against Americans. Desired capture. The white flags whisper a siren song. Russia. Different, if not move. Taiga's tomb, the terminus. Desert never, where go? Unit my/no Congress near. No living enemy face to face except captives. Their eyes hollow, as the helmets they surrendered. Miraculously never wounded. Why? All others. I alone, fate's favoritism a fluke. Rifle M98K, always. Italy P38 also. The Walther's weight, a wary talisman. Guns/horses, high quality/trust, except trucks, Russian chapter. The Opel Blitz's bellow betraying in Boreas bite. Besides scout early/calculator. Wire telephone/weaver/motorcycle messenger. The sidecars sway a solitary vigil. Hearing, Earplugs unknown. Ears cover as much as possible. Hands cupped against the howitzer howl. Hearing today guns? Likely, enough heard. The 15 cm's Requiem, a lifelong leitmotif. Unit no medal. I winter battle in Eastern Front 1941-42, cross merit lowest, frozen meat or frozen meat order. All who first winter survived, the step sacrament. Post-war lost, colleague Wilbur flee market bought. Found Kodak together. Now possess, the ribbons rust a relic reclaimed. Enemy never hated. Him better understood than me. Their bayonets brotherhood a mirror to our own. War end, 100% positive Americans. Germans/Austrians them liberators saw. The jeeps jounce a jubilee. Me also even if 2 years POW camps detained. Pugley's Palisades a paradoxical paradise. No hatred between American/German soldier. Soldiers say. The foxholes fraternity transcending flags. Political units, post-war otherwise, not fought, but victors over vanquished played. The victors vaunt a victor's vanity. American soldiers, mutual respect, perhaps culture/moral/religion Western common. The Lord's Prayer a lingua franca in the latrine line. Good soldier be/survive, problem avoid. The private's prudence a privateer's prize. 39 late. Poland, to bond transfer, camp training, sudden. Letters open only censorship. The postmaster's pouch a panopticon. Dear mother, honor have letters open right. Seems faith German soldier not believe. The envelope's edge a guillotine's gleam. Troublesome, mouth closed learned. The lessons lash lingering. Mother warned. 38 March. Germans Austria occupy. Unification. Hitler's pomp triumphal before Palace Habsburg. The Heldenplatz a sea of swastikas under the Hofburg's haughty gaze. Francis mouth big close, if not for you, for me. Her voice a velvet vice, eyes etched with the empire's elegy. Paranoia about freedom. Hitler once saw, speech before palace, his guttural growl amplified by loudspeakers strung like gallows from lampposts. Feelings Nazis negative. The Nuremberg rallies newsreels and nausea in the gut. Army German middle. Opportunism never Hitler dedicated. The salute a reflex, not a revelation. Distant arms Nazi organizations/political units/SS especially. The black uniforms a blight on the Baroque square. Comment short on Empire Hitler's. American today say, generals German no guts against Hitler stand, but missing something which Americans not understand. Who not live dictatorship absolute, where decision between truth/life, the scales tipping inexorably towards silence's survival. That tell, Hitler not stupid, insane, but not stupid, not from stroke began, the boots creep before the blitzkrieg. Example, factory master great against Nazis, Hitler not stroke. Promotes general manager chickens in North Pole, the exiles equator a equatorial irony. Who North Pole chickens care want. Successor same message gets, gradually pressure screw turns slow certain. No one then felt, too late, the vice's velocity veil. In no book, no analysis, only atrocities, where photos/statistics millions. The ledger's lurid ledger, eclipsing the slow strangulation of the soul.